Yeah, my name's Mike Lawrence, and we've had a little house here in Anglesea for about 15 or so years, and have seen the expansion of the community and the change in the sort of structure of the community. We've noted the growing families and people who have come here to live here in this pristine coastal environment. And in the political campaign last year, I became aware of the high Cal 40 issue and the likelihood that the coal mine here was going to burn that product in the coal mine to generate electricity for Point Henry, and the potential health implications of that were very, very serious. I suppose Alcoa at that point lost a fair bit of credibility in the local community's eyes, in that is definitely a toxic product, and the thought of doing that in the first place was really very, very poor judgment. So we saw that the Alcoa power station had some questions to answer in that regard, and obviously the ongoing use of brown coal and the burning of brown coal so close to a community in itself has its health implications, as Miriam's just outlined. But in that time I saw that there was a fantastic new primary school built at the 800 metres to the eastern side of that chimney stack. It didn't make any sense at all. I mean, how they would plan to put a primary school in that position is just beyond me. If you look we live up the hill here a little bit, and you can see almost every day that the plume from the cooling towers, which indicates the wind direction, is coming straight across that primary school area and straight across the town. So while at the moment there's some debate with the Liberal government about whether someone has the right to stop a wind-powered or wind turbine if they live within 2 kilometres of a wind turbine, that is before us at the moment. There's potentially legislation that will allow someone to stop a wind power development going ahead if they live within 2 kilometres of a wind turbine. Here we are living right next door to a brown coal mine and really don't have those same sort of rights or same sort of say. But that said, this is not about shifting a fantastic new primary school, and it's not about loss of jobs in the industry that's around us here, and it's not necessarily about a movement away from the use of aluminium. Aluminium's a part of a high-tech future that we're going to have to embrace if we're going to embrace renewable energy. It's a part of electric cars, it's a part of lightweight products, it's a part of a whole lot of ways of living. Most of us drove here in cars that had a lot of aluminium in them. This is about the way that the energy is generated to make that aluminium. So we need to be looking at pathways that Alcoa can go down, and be articulating pathways that Alcoa can go down to move towards renewable energy. And rather than just being critical from the outside, we really need to have the maturity and leadership, I suppose, to be strong on articulating the renewable energy possibilities and asking Alcoa to look very closely at these possibilities and not just continue with business as usual as they have done. For example, wind power in this region has significant potential. Approximately 64 turbines out the back there would deliver the 160 kilowatts, which would replace the contingency power as it's used here at Alcoa at the moment. This power station, by the way, is only here as contingency power for Point Henry. Point Henry relies on grid power, but if there's a grid outage, then they need their power from Anglesea here to continue to keep the pots warm so they can continue the process. So it's not relied on a daily basis, it just feeds into the grid, and we use it generally for our electricity consumption. So we need to look at a contingency plan. Wind power would be part of that, and then whatever other mix of technologies that we could provide to provide full contingency power to Point Henry. And that's the challenge, and that's where we need to work with Alcoa and the engineers in some degree of goodwill and faith that they will take that direction. I've got a meeting with Stephanie Pearce next week to talk about possibilities, alternatives, other ways that they can go. The use of biomass in this region has some significant potential, so a balance of wind power and biomass is probably the way that they can go. They can have biomass stored on site, they can use similar technology that they've already got there, and they could move towards full renewable energy supply to Point Henry using those combination of technologies. So that's the approach that I would like to take. Rather than an adversarial approach, we're really not going to go far. They're a very big global company, and if we close down this facility here in Geelong, for example, the aluminium production just goes somewhere else where they're probably going to produce even more pollution. But we need to be able to, as members of this community, put pressure on these organisations to show them that there are alternatives. The Beyond Zero Emissions people, a combination of engineers and scientists and volunteers that have worked in Melbourne over the last couple of years, and putting forward a logical pathway to renewable is one way of articulating this future, the sort of the future that we need to embrace. Thank you.